is congratulations to Ange Postecoglou and Tottenham, of course, Robbie Earle.
Yeah.
But Ange Postecoglou in his press conference ahead of today's game, he was asked about his future and he was told, well, I haven't spoken to the club yet, so I'll just turn up for work, I guess. Where are we with Postecoglou's job?
He's got to keep his job, Rebecca. That trophy, those scenes that we've seen are so important for this football club.
The 17th, if they finish 17th?
I get that, but he's got to now show that he can do things. And by the way, they won that trophy playing a very different style to what he's been adhered to all season, so it shows he can be adaptable. And he said something about 2 weeks ago that winning this trophy wasn't just good for the narrative for everybody outside the club, it'd be good for people within the club. The mindset at Spurs has got to be, we can get the job done. And now Ange Postecoglou, I think, will get a chance to show that he's a man to take Spurs higher up the table and challenging again for a top 4 spot.
Tim, it doesn't feel right to fire a manager after he wins a trophy, but you can't have 17th again.
Yeah, look, I mean, hats off to him, because I thought when he said we always win a trophy, I thought he's joking himself. This is not a team that can win a trophy. But what I would say is, one game, as Robbie Earle said, one game changes things, because if he loses that game and they're still finished 17th, he loses his job. So, okay, he wins the game. I do think he has to change. I've said it all along. Robbie mentioned it. They have dropped that line a little bit, so he can adapt. But he goes in the next season, and I think if things stay the same in the league, he could lose his job. I think he keeps it for now.
They've just arrived, as you can see here. This game, Tottenham against Brighton, will be live on Peacock if you want to see how Spurs' season finishes. And it's interesting, Robbie, to look back at what happened with Erik ten Hag at Manchester United last season. Won the FA Cup. Everybody got caught up.
Yeah.
He kept his job and he was fired before Christmas.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that could happen again?
It could happen. I think he's earned the chance to start again. I think when you look at the injuries that he's had, that he made a big deal about, which we debated many times throughout the season, Rebecca, and some of that may be his fault. I think around the Christmas time, January, he put all his eggs in that basket. We looked at lineups in the Premier League and were like, wow, Van der Ven's fit but not playing. He absolutely went for that trophy and he got it. And Tottenham have been looking for a manager to win things for many, many years now. You get one, you get a guy that qualifies them last year in a 5th place Premier League finish to get him in the Europa, and then you win it to get into the Champions League. I think he's earned the right. And we'll go back to your kind of point. Everybody be fit again probably at the start of the season. What have you got now? You've got to target a top 5 finish in the Premier League. And if it comes away from that when we're a few months in, then you're going back to your Erik ten Hag situation.
Well, they've basically got to do a Nottingham Forest, who finished 17th last season and now in the race for the Champions League. In terms of Manchester United, David Ornstein, our Premier League insider, who'll be on the show shortly this morning, broke a story about how yesterday Ruben Amorim told his players, I will be here next year, and he told Alejandro Garnacho, you can go and find yourself a new club. Of course, the problems are endless for him. Is this the lowest of the low, or is there further to go? As in next season, are we looking at a real relegation fight?
No, we're not. We're not. And look, Ruben Amorim, for me, is the right guy for the job. I always said he didn't want to take it in January because he knew the perils of this team. The squad's not good enough. He wanted it in the summer. Okay, so he took it. This is a project that's going to take 18 months. He won't be able to get all the players out that he wants and all the players in. He's going to have to trim the squad massively. They're going to have to spend and bring players in that are his type of players. But I do think what United have to get away from is continuing to hire and fire managers. They've done that since Sir Alex Ferguson left. It hasn't worked. They have to just pile in and give Ruben Amorim time. I like it. I like the project, but it's going to take a while.
I'll just come in on that. Like, if Bruno Fernandes goes, Alejandro Garnacho goes, and you're talking about trimming the squad even more, if they don't get the right players back, they could be in a relegation fight, genuinely. They could be in a relegation fight if they're a worse squad of players. Because recently they've been fit and they still haven't been winning games. So if the new players come in, don't work, and he goes a few months, Rebecca, and it's not going well and they fire him, who comes in? Are they any better? They could be in and around the bottom again. So I'm not automatically saying that they're going to be away from the relegation next season.
Just some pictures just come into us. Bruno Fernandes signing autographs, Robbie Earle. It sounds as if he might be on his way. He said, if the club want to sell me, I'll go, and apparently Saudi Arabian League would like him. What do you think? Is this the last day we'll see Bruno?
And I'll tell you why he says that, Bex, because he is a top-class player. He's a top 6 footballer, top Big 6 player.
Is he wasting his career?
And so his career could be wasted. He might get to the end of his career and say, I gave the 4, 5, 6 best years of myself to a team who were battling to 16th place in the Premier League. When I look at Ruben Amorim, I believe, like Tim, he's the man. There's a couple of things I'm not really happy with, Bex. He's come in the door. This team are worse than when he came in. They're a worse team now than when he's had them for 12 months. He keeps telling us about his system. And Postecoglou showing you change the system sometimes, you will win games. The guy here on the slot tweaked this system to win a title. You can do it at Manchester United. And the other thing I would say is, stop telling us about you apologising for results. This is the worst Man United team. It's your job to address those things. It's your job to be positive. You are Manchester United manager. That carries a certain kudos and a global status that he's got to give better messages.
Is he too honest?
I don't mind that about him. I think the system stuff is overblown, if I'm being honest. I'm not sure we've got enough time to get into details of that. There's plenty of teams that end up playing a little bit like United in terms of the 3, the 2 and the 4 and the 1. So I think, you know, if they change the system and tweak things, Rob, they might be a little bit better. It's not that. It's the squad. Yeah. It's the players who've been brought in over the last decade that are nowhere near the level. And expectations as well, Rebecca. The expectations of that club are so high that when people in the past have been pretty good and gone short, oh, that's not good enough, out. You know, Solskjaer, out. You know, good players that you know, look at Scott McTominay, wins MVP in Italian football. Lukaku's in the team Napoli win the title. Yeah. Like, because the expectation's been so high, then it's been impossible to live up to those. So players have gone and managers have been fired, and it's not right. They've got to change that somehow. Yeah. And I know the ambition should be the same at United, but the expectation is what's killing them.
You know they're going to get money, Rob. You look at the situation now with Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in. I mean, they're talking about
100 million apparently is going to be available to Ruben Amorim this summer. But who do they have to sell?
One good player.
And who do they have to sell in order to get that 100 million? And one illustration just quickly of the difference in expectations that Robbie's talking about. You saw the scenes. Tottenham won a trophy, and those scenes, tens of thousands of people packing the streets. If Manchester United had won the Europa League, they were going to have a barbecue at the training ground.
There you go.
And that now has been scrapped. So that just shows you the difference in expectations between Tottenham, for example, and Manchester United.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Lowe, and as we head towards the end of an exciting Premier League season, make sure you like and subscribe on the NBC Sports YouTube channel for more content like this.